This is your literary performance challenge for week number 8. Most of us are not very good at being patient, period. We live in a world today where we expect to get things right away every time that we want them, period. Many mothers do not cook from scratch anymore because of the time it takes to prepare that type of meal, period. It is so much faster to go through a drive-through on the way home and pick up supper, period. We get mad if our computer doesn't connect as fast as we think it should, period. How many red lights do we run simply because we don't want to sit and wait for the green light, ? Paragraph. The place that is the hardest to wait, in my opinion, is the doctor's office, period. Or perhaps you have had to wait, as I did, in the outer office, waiting for a judge to decide your future, period, paragraph. Tick, period, tick, period, tick, period. The clock in the waiting room was getting louder and louder, period. I had been waiting for half an hour for the judge to get back so we could go in and talk, period. I was waiting like a grade school kid would on the last day of school, period. I was watching the little second hand on the clock go 1 second at a time, and at one point, I swear I thought it went backwards for a second, paragraph. I was waiting to talk to the judge because I needed to see if I was going to be sent back to the halfway house I was at, period. I really did not think that I had done anything wrong in the first place to put me there, period. We were playing flag football, and I had to put my arm out to stop a guy from getting my flag, and he got upset with me and pushed me, period. The staff that was working said I hit him, but that was not true, period. I knew it, and so did the kid, period. I was in the holding cell and sweating like a pro basketball player after he had played a hard game, period. I probably smelled like it, too, period. I was spending the night in the juvenile hall place, period, paragraph. While I was there, I had met the nicest person in the world, period. He was on the staff there, and his name was Art, period. He took me in and motivated me like a coach does to his team of skilled football players, period. He said I had reminded him of his own son and that his son had gotten into trouble also when he was about my age, and he wanted to help me out, period. He taught me the skill of friendliness and to be friends with everyone instead of enemies, period. He was like a giant teddy bear, period. He was big and round, period. He had the appearance of being a tough guy, comma, but once he talked, he had a soft voice, period. It was just like the voice of your kindergarten teacher on the first day of school when you are crying because you miss your mommy, period, paragraph. I was sitting there thinking about what he had told me before I left that day for court, period. He told me to remember that no matter what, comma, I was a great kid. I was hoping, period, I was hoping I would get to see him again, period, paragraph. At that moment, I heard an awful sound, period. It was the guard with the handcuffs and keys, period. It was now my time to go into court, period. When I was walking, comma, I was going with my head down like I was on the way to get the death penalty, period. I felt awful that my parents would have to see me this way, period, paragraph. When I entered the room, I felt a killing pain in my chest, like a bee had flown straight at me and stung me in the chest, period. It was only the glare of the judge, who watched me with cold eyes, period. I had a feeling that I was in big trouble, period, paragraph. But when the talking started, comma, something changed in the room, period. The attitude of the judge seemed to go from cold and harsh to welcome and warm, period, paragraph. The whole room warmed up, and the cold from the cuffs was gone, and the pain that I felt in my chest was gone, and in its place was a feeling of acceptance and care, period. With all of these changes, comma, I quickly changed my looks and attitude, period. I sat up and looked at the judge and responded with a clear, open voice to show that I really did care about what was going on, period. The whole thing went great after I changed the way I acted, period, paragraph. The bailiff took the cuffs off and let me hug my grandma and my mom and dad, period. That was okay, even as I knew that I was going back to detention for a little while, period. I could accept even that, period, paragraph. 3 years after that day, comma, I was back in front of a judge, comma, not because I was in any kind of trouble, comma, but for a review, period. I walked in, and it was a different judge, and he had an awful look on his face, and his body was straight and tense. Even though I knew I was no longer in trouble, comma, I still felt that same pain in my chest, period. It took me a minute to go back to that first time in court and remember what had helped me make it through it, period. I decided to greet the judge with a warm hello, period. I said, quote, hello, Judge Walker, hello, comma, Judge Walker, period. I hope you are having a great day, period, close quote. It seemed like after that something happened to the judge. He looked happier, period, paragraph. Now, when I see someone in a bad mood, comma, I try to always be the one to pick them up, period. Most of the time, that attitude works, period, paragraph.